Hi everyone, welcome to the second session on compensation management. In today's session, we people are going to understand a little bit more about compensation management in any organization. In this session, we try to discuss about compensation planning. What do you mean by compensation? What are the functions of remuneration? And what are the objectives of compensation planning? Before going in detail about what do you mean by a compensation planning, let's try to understand what is an compensation is all about. Compensation is nothing but what a employee receives from the organization for what he contributes. Or in other words, we can say compensation is what employee receive in exchange of their contribution. The contribution may be in the form of mental intellectuality or maybe the physical contribution to the organization. So when we talk about this compensation, compensation may be interchanged with a word called remuneration also. And we all know that all the employees of any organization, they should be paid adequately, right? So here we need to understand some functions of compensation or remuneration. Why we need to provide a handsome or good salary to our employees. First one, when the functions of remuneration comes, we need to understand that it attracts the capable candidates, it motivates the employees, and it helps to retain the qualified employees with the organization for longer tenure. So that is a brief about what we can say the functions of remuneration. After that, there are some terminology we need to understand before going in detail about what compensation planning is all about. First of all, wages. The ILO defines the remuneration paid by the employer for the services of hourly, daily, weekly or fortnightly employees. It is referred as a wages. And generally it is paid to blue collar jobs, or what we can say the wages or the payment what we make to the operative level people, it is referred as a wages. Second term is salary. Salary is nothing but a remuneration paid to a clerical or managerial persons, which is generally paid annual basis or monthly basis. And the last very important one term that we all need to understand is earnings. Earnings may be defined as total remuneration that an employee receives from the company or from the employer. It includes salary plus DA plus HRA plus other allowances, say for example overtime, risk allowances, right? And even it includes the incentive also. So after understanding a little bit about what do you mean by compensation, what do you mean by wages, what do you mean by salary, earnings, and even after understanding the functions of remuneration, let's try to understand what do you mean by a compensation planning is all about. Compensation planning, it is referred as a complete package. It is a complete package which provides the details about what an employee is going to receive from the company, right? Or in other terms, the package that provides the detail about employees' wages, about employees' salaries, about employees' benefits, and even the terms of payment. Or in other words, it is rightly pointed out over there, it includes the detail about bonuses, incentives, or even commissions also that company paid to the employees for their contribution to the organization, either in the form of mental intellectual or what you can say intellectual abilities, or maybe the physical contributions. Or in a very simple language, what we can say, compensation is what employee receives in exchange for their contribution to the organization. The contribution may be, as I earlier discussed, it may be a intellectual or it may be a physical, right? So in a nutshell, what we can understand is compensation planning, it it is a process under which a employee comes to know that what he or she is going to receive from the organization for their contribution. The contribution may be intellectual or it may be a physical. Clear? What type of bonuses they will receive, what type of incentive they are going to receive, what is the salary package, what is the human house rent allowances, HRA they are going to receive. All these details are provided in compensation plan. After understanding this, let's try to understand the objectives of compensation planning, a very important phase of compensation management. Why we need to plan the compensation of our employees, that is very important, right? The objectives are broadly categorized or grouped into two parts. One is primary objectives and another one is secondary objectives. What do you call that? A simple bifurcation of what is primary objectives and what is secondary objectives, right? Let's try to go in detail. Clear? So what do you mean by a primary objectives? They are broadly three types. One is internal equity, another one is external equity, and another one is individual equity. So primary objectives is deals with equity part only, right? So in the first one, internal equity. What do you mean by that internal equity? Internal equity provides details, or it spell out that difficult jobs needs to be paid more as compared to the normal jobs. So that is the reasons in the previous discussions, if you recall, here the job evaluation plays a very vital role. Only by doing a job evaluation I can assess the difficulties associated with a particular job or with a particular role, and which will help us to provide the internal equity. A more difficult job will attract the more salaries. Clear? Next objective is external equity. The name itself spell out that our package or our salary should equal to the industry level salaries. That means whether we are fairly compensated or whether we fairly paid to our people when they compare their salaries with the same industry to the other organization. That is external equity, right? After that, the third comes, it is individual equity, a very important objectives for a compensation planning. That means equal pay for equal job, irrespective of a gender, whether that particular job is performed by male or female, the payment should remains equal. That is individual equity, and these internal, external and individual equity becomes the prime objectives of compensation planning. After understanding this, let's try to understand the secondary objectives of compensation planning. A very, what do you call that, simple objectives, but a very vital to organization in longer tenure, right? The first one, it attract the talent, right? We all know that, and we need to agree that if you don't paid handsomely in your organization, the talent does not stay with you people. Apart from staying, even to attract the good people, the qualified people, the skillful people, you need to provide the handsome salaries to those prospective employees. That is nothing but attracting a talent. While we people are doing a recruitment, in there only we need to publish the package in that recruitment advertisement, right? So that the right person and the qualified person should be attracted and it motivates them to apply for a job. That is the secondary objective of compensation planning. It attracts the talent to organization. After this, the second one is retain. Even to retain the talented workforce with your organization, you need to provide them a handsome salaries. They should have some reasons to stay with your organization. You should introduce the incentive plan. That is the reasons where uh, you find your performance is paying off, the employee will definitely stay in that particular organization as compared to any other organization. You can retain your talent either in the form of paying them commissions, paying them timely bonuses, paying them incentives depending upon their performances. That is retain talent. Even compensation planning will helps to retain the talent. Next one, a new and desired behavior. That is very, very important, right? Only the output, only the result should not be paid. Even the human attributes, his loyalty, his attitude towards the work, his behavior towards the other people of his group, that is also needs to be identified, and we need to pay for them, right? For his, what do you call that, behavior, for maintaining or for developing a group cohesiveness, we need to find out some different ways to pay their behaviors also, right? And this behavior, if you are start to paying the behavior of an employee, then by default it will helps to retain the talent with the same organization in a longer tenure. After understanding this, let's try to understand the next concept or the next objective. It is control cost, right? Paying handsomely, that doesn't mean that you should pay aggressively to any employees. That is very, very important, right? In this scenario, we need to understand that we should have a effective compensation management, right? Effective compensation management, because it will ensures that the employee should be paid neither more nor less. The effective compensation management team will ensure us that employees are paying handsomely. A sound wage policy we are introducing and we are implementing, right? So there should be absence of overpayment or underpayment. That is nothing but cost control, right? The next objective is compile with legal rules. It is what do you call that, a prime objective of compensation planning, because at the present situation, and due to the intervention of technology in the organization, the what do you call that, the information is available at a click of your fingers. Nowadays employees are become more aware, right? So your compensation planning, or what you people are paying, that should compile with the legal rules, right? Legal rules in the sense, there are some government rules and regulations regarding minimum wages, regarding allowances, right? Regarding, say for example, every 6 months the government revise the dearness allowances that you need to inculcate in your compensation package, right? So whatever you are paying or whatever you are providing in terms of bonuses, in terms of benefits, in terms of wages, right, they all need to satisfy the government rules, right? After understanding this, a last objective is, it should be a very easy to, what do you call that, it should be a very easy to understand and calculations, right? Because in today's environment we find that the employees receives CTC to the organization is very high, but the month end salary, the take home salary becomes very low. For that reasons, even it creates the confusion in the mind of an employees also. Even though my package is such a huge, but my take home salary remains the smaller in bucks. So it is the duty of an HR department that they should draft the compensation structure in such a way that the employees should feel even to understand it is very easy and even to calculate it is very easy, right? So this is all about the objectives of compensation planning. So in today's discussions, to make a brief rewind, we have discussed about what do you mean by compensation planning. Even we try to understand the meaning of compensation. Even we try to understand the functions of remuneration, right? Which includes, the functions of remuneration includes attracting the capable candidates, motivates the employees, and even retain the capable employees for a longer tenure with the organization. After understanding this, we try to understand the terminology such as what do you mean by wages, what do you mean by remuneration, what do you mean by earnings. After understanding all these brief jargons which are very popular when it comes to the compensation management, we are also understand what is the meaning of compensation planning and what are the objectives of compensation planning, right? So here I end my discussions for today, right? I wish all of you people should stay in home, be healthy, be happy. Thank you.